Before we get started, if you could do me a favor, I would appreciate it. Quite a while ago, I switched the way that my workbench grinder works and made it work like the old hand crank ones. In other words, it turns the opposite way. And that's number 88. Is there a better way for sharpening with a power grinder? And I'd like you to take a look at it and see if you agree with what I've done or whether you disagree. I could use your input on that. So if you could do it, I would appreciate that. Today I'd like to be talking about fans. Mostly box fans, window fans. And the reason why I want to talk about it is one of our old fans, and we have had for at least 30 years, if not longer, finally gave out. And so I started looking for new box fans for replacing that one. And this one was all metal construction that gave out, and metal blades, and a metal box around it, and the grill was also made out of metal. Very, very well made one, I should say. And it lasted a good long time. So I went looking to see what we had available to purchase for a replacement. And it bothers me tremendously that everything is plastic. It's not so important that the box itself is plastic and the screen is plastic. That's okay. But the blades, all of them are plastic now. And what I'm going to have to do is figure out how to get this old box fan going, because it did a good job. The problem with plastic blades is that they're noisier. And the way to figure out noise is this way. For every 3 dB, that's decibel, that something is louder, it's twice as loud. Or if it's 3 dB less in sound than something else, then it's half the sound. It's a logarithmic thing. So 10 dB, then 13 dB would be twice as loud. Or if you go down to 7 dB, then from 10 dB, then it's half as loud. It gives you an idea of what that is. But when you're looking for a fan, there's a couple of 3 things that you might want to take a look at. First of all, the price. Is it affordable to buying a fan? And for these prices and for what they're offering out there, I kind of consider it junk. But if you have to buy a box fan, you buy a box fan. But the 3 things you want to look for, and sometimes they're hard to find: the price, the noise in dBs. Quite often you'll see it somewhere between 45 dB and maybe 65 dB. So there's a big range in it. And the airflow, the blow through the fan, how much air will it blow? And I think you should be somewhere, if you can, be up as high as 2,500 CFM. That's cubic feet per minute. And if you can get up that high, then you have more flexibility with the lower settings. But it's quite frustrating to see what kind of fans that are out there. Now, I took a look at what was an Air King 16-inch with adjustable fins that you could open it to a wider amount, up to about 26 and change in window width. But for some reason, they thought they were going to get $130 for that. Really? And most of these fans don't even talk about whether it works or not, if it's a good blow through it. And the reason why is some of them are, you could probably blow yourself more so than what these fans can do. Just absolute junk out there. Unbelievable. And the thing with the blades, You hear it in a lawnmower, especially electric lawnmowers. When you turn on a lawnmower, it makes a lot of noise. That's the blade. Okay? And a lot of the noise in a private airplane that you see in the sky is blade noise. So the movement of the blade through air is very noisy. So if you have a plastic blade, it's going to be more floppy and moving back and forth and creating more noise and more differentials in airflow around it. For example, if it's built like this and you move back, well, it changes the angle of the blade. Or it may come forward. Unbelievable. So what I think I'm going to do is try to get my old box fan going, see if I can pick up a motor that will fit it, and then get it going again. Because as in many instances out there, they seem to think, that many companies seem to think that would be willing to buy junk. And I say, not at these prices. The typical fan out there that they're selling for, let's say, somewhere around $40, I wouldn't pay more than $10 for, because of the way it's made. And that's being generous. All too often these companies are trying to get by as cheaply as possible, and they have forgotten that their brand name is very important. If I can't trust the brand name, I'm not going to buy from that brand. I mean, I'm not going to buy anything from that brand. That's what most people would say. Whereas I take it a step farther. I go find out, for example, who owns the different companies, because quite often there's a main company overhead that goes down further and further and further. The old General Motors is a good way of thinking of it. General Motors was on top, and then they had the Cadillac, Buick, Chevrolet, GMC. Let's see, Buick. Did I say Buick? And Pontiac. Then they had the different pickup trucks. So the Chevy pickup trucks is another layer down from General Motors. So let us say I would have a problem with something, let's say a Chevrolet pickup truck, and I'm just using that as an example because the tier setup of it, not to pick on the truck itself. Well, if I had a problem with that, where there's a difference between a one-of problem because something unique happened, and it's just cheaply made. Well, if it's cheaply made and I can't trust that pickup, a Chevy pickup anymore, then I wouldn't buy anything from General Motors, anything. And that's the way that I do it all the way across. You know, Budweiser, Bud Light made a bad mistake with their advertising. They forgot that you forget the politics and you push the product, and you push it to the group that you want it at. Okay. Well, I never liked Bud Light anyway. If someone handed me a can and they looked the other way, I'd just pour it out. It's garbage. But some people like it, so if you like it, fine, you like it. But you should see how many, I forget the name of the parent company that bought Budweiser, but they own, let's see, I believe they own Heineken, Bass, a lot of the beers that I do like. And because they want to play games and insult me and you by stepping outside of their field of product, promoting their product in an ad, then I don't need their products. But it's all back to quality. And when you can't do quality, I think you're getting like me and getting a little bit angry at it. So I don't know. I don't see any fans out there to recommend to you for purchasing. You're on your own. I spent, maybe a total of 8 hours trying to find fans that have metal blades on it. Unless you get up to something like you put in a barn or some such thing like that, and they put a price on it that was unbelievable, they didn't have any metal blades. And it wasn't that long ago that they had box fans with metal blades on it. Just a year ago, Air King had a box fan model that was all metal with metal blades on it. They don't make it anymore. You either take one of these fans today, tear it apart, and buy a metal blade to put on it, and then put it back together. And unless you know how to do that's a little bit of a risky thing to do. The only thing to do is go in the store, plug it in, see if it meets your needs on it, and if it's priced right and it really moves the air, then you're kind of stuck with it, I guess. I'm sorry I don't have any more positive on this, because buying a fan is price, noise, and how much airflow it does. And since it doesn't want to build them the way they should be, then maybe we shouldn't buy their fans.
Thank you for watching, and please be safe. We'd sure appreciate it if you could subscribe and leave a comment. You know how YouTube behaves. They won't believe you watched a video unless you leave a comment. Also, it would help if you ring the bell and do a thumbs up. As you know, if I find a good channel, I pass it on to you. So if you think it's appropriate, it would sure help if you passed us on to your closest 10,000 friends and family. But above all, give a helping hand to someone today. It's the best gift to give. It'll make you feel good too.
Don't forget to click like, subscribe, share, or ring the bell buttons on the Original Old Farmer channel. We enjoy reading the comments that you leave, and they do help the channel, so keep them coming. And once again, thank you for watching The Original Old Farmer.
The VFW National Home for Children, providing families of veterans and active duty military opportunities for growth and development in a nurturing community. Please consider a donation to help their children and families. I.C. Rhodes speaking.